Can GPT-5 replace front-end developers or become unfair advantage? Today we find out together. First of all, we're gonna have quick overview of a new release from OpenAI. We will take a look what kind of new models we've got and what actually these models are, what can they do, and also we will take a look on the price of these models in case if you're gonna use APIs. And then the main part, the most interesting one. So we're gonna test GPT-5 with several front-end development related tasks. We will ask GPT-5 to generate something like landing page, Kanban board, and then we will go through the code and check how he performs the tasks, and also we will check the output. And by the end, we're gonna compare whether GPT-5 can replace front-end developers or can be that unfair advantage. Once we land at ChatGPT, so now we have a new home screen. So we see that on the background we have some gradient now, and here the new title introducing GPT-5. And in subtitle they say that ChatGPT now has our smartest, fastest, most useful model yet with thinking built in. So you get the best answer every time. That we will test. In terms of tools, as I see, everything is the same. Agent mode we got before GPT-5, then we have deep research, create image, think longer, and also we have study, web search, canvas, and some integrations. And in terms of models, there are changes. So now in that menu you can find only GPT-5, GPT-5 Thinking, and GPT-5 Pro. So this one is available only in case if you have Pro plan. So we don't have access anymore to the previous model, and here is the thing. Now ChatGPT decides which model to use for our request. Under the hood it uses some kind of smart router, so it delegates the request to the proper model. And as for me, it looks like a small disadvantage because I prefer to choose model myself, so I can be sure with which model I interact and what kind of results I can expect. But only the time will show. We will test it and see probably that approach even better. Here is the release notes from OpenAI on GPT-5. So there are a bunch of information, but the most interesting one is this comparisons. Here they compare GPT-5, O3 model and 4o model in competition math. So also here we can see that they used models with thinking and without, and here is the results. So also they have expert level math here. What else they have? PhD level science questions, but we are interested in coding. So here we see that GPT-4o is far behind, but O3 and GPT-5, there are not that huge difference. So we will check how GPT-5 performs our front-end development tasks. And here is another important topic is pricing for API. And actually, what can I say, that GPT-5 is actually not that much expensive. It's even cheaper than some of the previous models. Here we can see GPT-5 and the price for input is $125, for cached input is $125 and output is $10. GPT-5 mini is $0.25 for input, $0.25 for cached input, and output is $2. And here are also prices for GPT-5 Nano and GPT-5 Chat latest. So then we can compare it to the previous models, and for example you can check GPT-4o. For input it was twice more expensive, cached input it was $125 and output it was the same. So in terms of pricing, it's pretty good. It's time to test it with the front-end development related tasks, and the first one is gonna be landing page. I have prepared that simple schema of landing page. I just will make screenshot and will paste it to ChatGPT. The prompt will be generate a landing page using Next.js with Tailwind CSS. This landing page will be used by a car dealership to promote car sales. The landing page should have a modern UI design following the latest standards and best practices. And here I'm using just this standard GPT-5 model. So let's try to generate it. As we see, it is generating a lot of code now, everything in one file as I see. Okay, it's finished. We see that the last component was generated. Here is the text output from the model. It is mentioned here that to be able to run that, we need to install FramerMotion and Lucid React. That's okay. So model generated header, hero, features, offers, CTA, and footer. Let's take a look again to the code. So everything here is in one file. So here we can see there is a demo data. So there is no folder structure. So everything goes here. So we have that comments from the model before each section. So we have header, hero here. We have features, car offers, call to action, and footer. Okay, so let's take a look at the results. Here we just need to press run code. And here is the landing page, and I have to admit that hero page looks awesome. So here we have a logo, features, offers, contact, book a test drive, call to action button. So here we have Dubai exclusive offers, find your next car, drive tomorrow, nice, premium, okay. So here we have some buttons. Then we have features. Then we have hot deals this week. That looks pretty impressive. Here is a contact form. Okay, only the thing I would improve here, I probably will make this button to take full width, but still it's okay. It looks pretty impressive. And at the bottom we have footer. In terms of design and output, I think that model performed 10 out of 10. It looks pretty amazing. In terms of the code, with high-level overview, I can say that there is one disadvantage, that there is no folder structure. Everything goes in one file. That's definitely not scalable and maintainable, but if you need just simple landing page, that's totally fine. You can just build some static landing page and ship it in minutes to production and start attracting some customers, and that's perfect. And the next task, so the next task is going to be a bit more complex, and let's provide less context to a model and see how it performs. Here is the prompt, generate a Kanban task board. It should have 4 columns, to do, in progress, in review, and done. It should have drag and drop. On task click, it should open the task details model. The task should be editable. The user can add and delete new tasks. It should have a search bar for the tasks. Let's try that one. And one thing I forgot, let's mention the tech stack we want to use for that. And let it be use React plus Tailwind CSS. Let's try that. Here is it. It generated a ton of code. So it's just one file with 528 lines. So it's going to be a bit tricky to go over and understand everything what is written here. But high level, I can say that it uses TypeScript. That's good. I didn't mention that in the prompt, but model understood that and started React with a TypeScript. That's good. Also, what I've spotted in such cases is good to have a default option just to have fallback for your switch case. Here it is missing. So I think it should be added here. Let's take a look how it works. Here is the Kanban board. We have search bar. We have new task button. That's okay. That's what we asked. Also, we have these 4 columns, and let's see. Yeah, it has drag and drop. So also it has that empty state here. What if we press here? Nothing. Okay. So what we press here? Okay. Here is a model to add new task. Let's try to add it. Let it be status to do, priority low, tags, let it be UI, save task. Okay, it is added. Cool, let's delete it. Perfect. Now let's try to search, let's say Supabase. Perfect. Let's click also on the task and edit it. Perfect, that works, and again it's pretty impressive. And again, model performed very well with such a task, but one thing I want to mention. That functionality definitely have to be split in different components and modules. Actually, we can try and ask model to do that for us when we type in our initial prompt. All this code should be reviewed for further scalability. For example, such kind of things like defining the default state like that, it doesn't look so good. So I would redefine it a bit and refine the approach. But still it's okay, it works for now. But for future maintainability and scalability, probably it should be revised. But still, as per requirement, app is ready and it actually ready to be deployed. Now let's try more difficult task. It's going to be expense tracker app. Here is the prompt: generate a fully functional expense tracker web app. It should have the following features: user auth, functionality to add expenses and review analytics, a table with all expenses, category charts and summaries, table with user subscriptions, expense prediction, expense report generation to PDF. The app should be built as a dashboard. Let's focus here on front end of the app with hard-coded data. You can use an in-memory database. To build the app, use React and Tailwind CSS. Let's try that one. It's done, and actually it was pretty fast. It took a couple of minutes only, and we see that here only 589 lines of code is almost the same like it was for a task board. So let's take a look straight away how it works. Let's run it. Okay, so cool. It called this app Volty, and actually GPT-5 took the context from previous models, so it actually knows about you. And Volty is actually the name of the app I'm currently building. It's the app for the car management. So it's not released yet, but it's cool that it grabbed that context from my previous conversation with previous models, and he used it there and mapped it to that expense tracker. Cool. So now let's try to log in. Let's check if model applied validation here. Yeah, that's correct. Validation is there. What about password, if it will be empty? Okay, so nothing happens once I click, and it doesn't say that actually password is empty, so it's forgot to write validation for the password. Let's type some password here. Okay, we are in. What we see here, we have a menu bar, we have the main dashboard with some stats, with the search, with some charts, tables. Cool, so let's click on that part. Yeah, it works. Awesome. So there is some feedback, overview, search. Okay, let's try to add expense. Let it be groceries, amount 100. What if I miss that part? Category, groceries, date. Okay, implemented date picker. Cool, save. Okay, it doesn't let me save, but it doesn't say anything that this shouldn't be empty. Let's add this. Okay, now it is saved and chart actually updated. That's cool. I didn't notice whether this amount was updated. So now it is average 4,000 and total spend 12,000. Let's add, let's say, fuel, and let it be 20,000. Very expensive fuel. Okay, perfect. That's updated, and actually average monthly was recalculated. That's cool. And look how chart looks now. Perfect. Okay, so what I can say that charts is not so good. This one is okay, but this one is totally not readable. It's really difficult to read that part. So probably for that chart, legend should be created on the right, on the left, or in the bottom. So just to make items more readable. But still you can hover on it. But yeah, this part should be definitely improved. Okay, here we have prediction, upcoming subscriptions. That's cool. So we have all expenses. We can delete expenses. Okay, we can delete expenses, subscriptions. We can add subscriptions, but actually there is no any model to add, so we just add in as a new service. So that part is missed as well. For some reason app refreshed. Let me add again fuel, transport, 20,000, save. So we have 32,000 here. What if I now try to find it here? Okay, is it here? Okay, so let's click on that. So nothing happens here. And finally, let's try to export this to PDF. And we see that there is some bug. When I press export, attempting to parse an unsupported color function. As we see, model managed to deliver the app. Design of this app doesn't look so good. Chart implementations is not so good, but in general, it's good boilerplate to start with. And this is the final task and experiment with the GPT-5 in this video. Actually, I didn't try GPT-5 for coding before filming this video, so it was my first experience, and actually I'm pretty impressed. But I have to mention that I tried GPT-5 for text generation and image generation, and actually it wasn't so successful, especially with image generation. So for instance, I asked GPT to generate 3 images with the same context, but with a different time of the day, and it always generated me 1 image and always the same. So it was pretty difficult to interact and explain him again and again to generate the proper set of images. But this is just the beginning, so I need to use it more and test more ways and approaches, and probably that would be fine. Now, getting back to the question whether GPT-5 can replace front-end developers. For my opinion, if your responsibility as front-end developer to develop landing pages and simple websites, you are in danger. So my final opinion that GPT-5 will not be able to replace front-end developers, but I really believe that it's a very great tool which can help you build faster. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about GPT-5 and what you're gonna build with it first. I hope this video was helpful, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.